Hi everyone. Thank you for joining us in our group presentation today. I am McKeely Erickson, and our other group members are Bo Evans and Daniela Nogueira. We will be discussing herpes simplex virus type 1 today. And I'll start us off with the etiology and the morphology and also the viral genome of herpes simplex virus. So to begin with etiology, the herpes simplex virus, it's commonly referred to as oral herpes, and it can be abbreviated as HSV-1. Um, oftentimes, the association with herpes simplex virus is either fever blisters or cold sores, and these are signs and symptoms of this virus that aren't always seen in an individual who has the virus. And we'll talk about that more later on in the signs and symptoms, and also a little bit in the etiology. But the etiologic agent of herpes simplex virus is herpes viridae. You can see this spelling in the slide presentation that you'll be able to refer back to. We weren't able to put the presentation into the video due to some technical issues, but you will be able to look at that. So what's interesting about herpes simplex virus type 1 is it is housed in the body as benign. So this is a lot of the time why you won't see the signs and symptoms all the time, because something will happen for it to kind of wake the virus up, because it's in a way sleeping inside of your body, and then it can wake up and cause some issues later on in life or throughout life. So now we'll move on to, well, to illustrate this, I came across an article the other day about a mom who just had a newborn infant, and she brought the baby home and allowed visitors to come and see the baby. And there was one visitor who had this virus live in their body, and they kissed the baby, and the baby contracted herpes simplex virus, and the effects were so strong on the baby that it was life-threatening, and the baby had to receive treatment. Luckily, the baby came out of it and was fine, but it can be dangerous sometimes, especially in a little infant. To move on to morphology, herpes simplex virus is a double-stranded DNA, and it's an enveloped virus with a donut-shaped capsomere, which is the subunit of a capsid, an outer covering of protein, which protects the genetic material inside of the virus. We have a really good picture on the slide of the herpes simplex virus. You can see the envelope and the glycoprotein spikes on the outside, and this was covered in lesson 4, so it's really fun to be able to connect it with something in real life, with the real life virus. You can also see the capsid and the DNA inside being protected by the envelope. So I strongly suggest that you refer back to that picture. It's very helpful. As for the viral genome, herpes simplex virus 1 is a linear double-stranded DNA duplex, and it has 152,000 pairs in length, with a base composition of 67% of G plus C. So the genome, it circularizes when upon infection. Because this happens, the transcription of the genetic map is shown as a circle. You can see it that way. So this virus is very complex and interesting, and like I said, very common. You can see it in people all around you, and maybe even have it yourself. It's very easily transferred as well. And, well, you can be very careful um, to not transfer and to not receive it, but it can be transferred easily. And we'll talk more about that in signs and symptoms, um, and then we'll later on talk about treatment and a lot of fun stuff coming your way. Um, Daniela will go on to talk about the reservoir and the signs and symptoms next, and um, we're excited to learn some more with you and share what we've learned through this presentation. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll turn the time over to Daniela. Thank you so much.